folks, welcome back. It's episode 19, and again, bringing you the best and the brightest guitar players in the greatest city of Boston. And today I have monster blues guitar player here, Mr. Baxter Hall. Baxter Hall is young. I don't have any guitars that are your age. Mine are all 40, 50 years old. So, Guy Baxter is a 20-year-old singer-songwriter and guitarist from Boston, Massachusetts. He's currently involved in many various musical projects, including works with his own newly formed backing band and an official debut album that I just was told is going to be coming out this spring. And the album's going to be called Somewhere in My Guitar. Comprised of lyric-based original rock and roll songs being produced by Grammy-nominated guitarist and founder of Roomful of Blues, Mr. Duke Robillard. And Duke, you have an open invitation to be episode 20 if you would like. Performing on stage and working with some of the best in the business, Hall is an exciting new up-and-coming artist who's been recognized on stages throughout New England and as far as Europe. So welcome to our show, Baxter.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And you live around here now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, or in the Millis area.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great. So, tell me about yourself. How'd you start playing? I read your biography, which is BaxterHallMusic.com.
Yes.
That's where people can find you there. Right. And I see you have a musical family, so
yes.
That's interesting. They're very supportive.
Yes, they're very supportive.
So how did it start, man?
Wow. Well, I've always been around music. On my dad's side, there was a lot of classical influence, and
right.
With him being involved in many orchestras, and
yeah, he plays in a little band called the Boston Pops.
Yeah,
I think we've heard of the July 4th thing.
Yeah,
yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So that just from a very young age, being around musicians and going on tours like that around the country and stuff.
With him as a young kid, and
yeah,
he'd be on the road with the Pops?
Yes, with the Pops.
Cool.
And I got to meet some pretty cool people that way, all these different guests they would have around. My mom, on the other hand, was very influenced me a lot in the rock scene.
Right, and that's her background?
That's her background. Yeah. She grew up a more classical musician, but went into the more rock scene with a lot of Boston music people like Rick Berlin, who's been around for a while.
Rick Berlin, the Berlin Orchestra, one of the best in the 80s, amazing stuff.
Yes.
Never got that big break.
Right.
Should have.
Yeah.
Was as good as any of the bands in the early 80s. Boston, even Jay Giles on the Cars, and it just never worked for Rick, and I think he still lives around here.
Yeah, and Rick is a really big influence on me, just even as a person. Cool. He's just so he has been around since an early age for me, and a friend of mine, and so basically, I've just consumed a lot of different music influences from different places.
Cool.
And more so when I was a young teenager, I really drew influence from blues music by tracing the roots of rock and roll.
Right.
Kind of like, I remember having a thought, well, like, I really like this artist, so what did they like?
Right.
And what did they like? And then it just kind of all leads back to like T-Bone Walker and Django Reinhardt, and then Robert Johnson, and like this blues, the foundation of it,
And if you know anything about blues guitar players, the best ones always do that.
Yeah,
the great ones always do. Eric Clapton. I was a kid in the '60s and '70s. You thought Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page came up with this stuff.
Right.
And I kind of stuck with them. I know you've played with Ricky King Russell, who was one of our guests a few weeks ago. And Ricky's the real deal, and Ricky did the same thing.
Yes.
He actually grew up like you did, and we'll talk about the Beatles a little bit, but he got into the blues thing, then he dug in, okay, where'd this come from?
Right. And sort of I slowly would build on from there.
Yeah.
And I just felt like if I really tried to take my own thing, which I'm still, in search of developing, but if I really took my own thing from the source, to really trace down that source of whatever it is I'm liking from music, then I can slowly build on from there. Cool. And even just recently in my life have started exploring through the evolution of blues music and have even gone into like punk music from the 70s and stuff, and how that has trailed in from different rock influences and different things like that. So, I mean, right now, especially at this point in my life, I feel like I have really opened up my mind with a lot of different music and just being open to listening to all sorts of music.
Cool.
Yeah.
So again, tell me about your mother. Your mother was a classical musician?
Yes, yeah.
Did either of them or both of them, your parents, go to New England Conservatory types? Or?
My dad graduated NEC.
So he's a conservatory. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
What's he play?
He plays trumpet.
Okay.
And I mean, he's just always been a trumpet player. You know?
Right.
And
local? Grew up around here?
No, he's from Michigan. Yeah, he's
cool.
from Michigan. My mom is from around here.
Yeah.
And she would play with different symphonies and stuff.
And what was her instrument?
Violin.
Cool.
Violin. But something that is inspirational to me is that she liked doing that, the classical thing, but at one point said like, well, what's my own thing?
Did she go to New England?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
I'm actually not sure. I don't really.
Mom, you gotta get him up on that.
Yeah. Where are you? But she I know you had Hirsch Gardner on the show.
Yes, Hirsch. I had him a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I remember I remember being very young and witnessing the transaction at Daddy's Junkie Music where he sold her an electric violin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that she's been using that. She loves the color orange. So.
Cool.
Just like a total punk rock violinist.
Right. And that's hilarious, man, because usually the worlds don't meet. I graduated from Berkeley in the 70s, and man, we had a sort of hate relationship with New England Conservatory.
Yeah.
They didn't respect us, and we didn't respect them. We were sort of intimidated by them, quite honestly. But we were jazz rock type players. I was more of a rock and turned into a jazz player.
Totally.
So when did you pick up guitar?
Well, the first time I picked up a guitar, I was maybe 6 years old or so. I took like Suzuki acoustic guitar, and I remember going over to this guy's house. I'm sorry that I should find out his name, and because he was the beginning of it all. But went over to his house, and I was just like, acoustic, like what is this? Right. I was like, I don't know what this is. This is like John Lennon. I mean, John Lennon does play that, but I was just like, I want to rock out like the Beatles. Like
as a 6-year-old,
I was like, I want to rock out. I've always wanted to rock out.
Yeah. Cool.
But so I stopped doing that. I wish I stuck with it, but and I mean, I love playing acoustic guitar.
So do I. I almost exclusively play acoustic now.
Yeah. It's addictive, but I stopped doing that. I stopped doing those lessons and stopped for a while. I played trumpet after my dad.
Middle school type thing?
Yeah, middle school.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Flats, sharps, whole notes, and that's cool.
Right. It was, I mean...
But then it must have been intimidating with your father.
Yeah.
That must be a trip. It's like, holy moly, Anybody following in the footsteps of directly their father
right.
must be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I question that sometimes within myself, like, because my dad has played on so many amazing stages, and Royal Albert Hall and all these places, and he's playing at Carnegie Hall, tomorrow. So it's like,
really?
Yeah,
with the Boston Pops?
Yes, cool. yes, and I like to say there's a certain healthy competition with. I mean, I like to not have competition with anyone except myself. Right. But with my dad. Where I'm like, okay, I'll one up you.
And do you play with him at all?
Well,
can you guys groove? Can he play? Well, a lot of classical, nothing against you, Dad, but my experience with classical players are you take away that paper and they have issues.
They're square. Yeah. No, that's actually a funny story. A long story short, September 14th of this year, I had a birthday celebration. These really nice people, Jim Rockwell and Michelle Rockwell.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook with them, I think.
They run an everyday blues jam in Rockland at Players Sports Bar. And there's a stage there, and I was hosting it as the special guest, and Jim was really nice. I said, I kind of want to turn this into like a celebration, a birthday party.
Cool.
And we had like George McCann from the James Montgomery Band, which he was my guitar teacher. We can get into, but it was very emotional experience because I had my mom and my dad up on stage with me for the first time in my life.
Really?
Yeah, and
cool.
And it was really something. Yeah. It was just like at the end of the night, everybody freaked out, and my dad improv'd on the spot there, and it was pretty funny. Because he's never done that, but he just went for it.
Really?
He sounded good.
You would think they'd have some background in that.
Yeah, I know. Especially that I know he got the opportunity to see a lot of jazz players, growing
Maybe the
up.
twins she'll never meet. It's like, I think, last week I told the story of playing with the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra with the Platters, and what a trip that was, and I was blown away looking at what the violin players had to read. Because I was right behind them. It looked like an EKG chart. And they were blown away by me soloing, doing like a Van Halen type thing.
Right.
Proud to be an American. So, most of us musicians, I love it all, man.
Yeah, totally.
No metal. I'm not metal. I'm not rap. But other than that, I'm open to it all right now.
Yeah.
So, and you have other kids in the family?
I have a little sister.
And does she play at all?
She is really good at drums. She has a really good time. She's 14.
Wow. Cool.
But that's not her hobby right now.
Okay.
She's being a 14-year-old,
That's cool.
In middle school.
You never know.
In high school.
Man. You come back to it. So, again, I want to go from that period of time, from the 6-year-old saying, I don't want to do this, to where's the Strat I found in my grandfather's backyard?
Grandma, yeah.
Okay, tell me that story. And how old were you?
So I was about, 12 or 13 or something.
And that was, last week?
Yeah, it was yesterday,
yeah.
I
12 or 13, so what grade is that? 6th, 7th grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think around then. I remember it's all kind of a blur right now, but it's already a blur. But I know around that time, I was really influenced by the Beatles and like really diving into like listening to every song strictly like all the time. Really like John Lennon and stuff like that.
And I think that's amazing. I want to interrupt you because I want to follow this thread because I listen to your music. I hear hard rock.
Right.
Cream. I hear that. I don't hear Beatles yet.
Right.
But that could change.
Well, you wait for Somewhere My Guitar.
Okay, cool. So,
So I was up in my grandma's attic and I found a red Stratocaster.
Who finds a Strat in an attic?
Yeah. Well, I have really funny guitar karma. I brought another guitar too that has some karma to it.
Cool.
But it was special because it was my first guitar. I mean, it wasn't something like a 65 like Fiesta Red.
Yeah, but
thing.
it was cool.
It was a cool like
good action.
Yeah,
you could plug it in and it works.
Something to play.
Cool.
So
was it a Squier?
No, it was a Fender. It was like a Mexican Fender.
Cool.
Yeah. It was something that my grandpa bought.
Do you still have it?
And then I don't still have it.
Okay.
I don't know why I don't still have it.
Yeah.
But
don't sell anything, man. If I can,
old
guy to young guy, I'm there. Whatever you can do, don't sell anything.
I know. I've learned
I have
that
this
now.
beautiful. I bought this in '86 when this was the first production of Paul Reed Smith, and it's worth a lot of money. But I traded in early '60s 335.
Yeah.
For I think I might have got $400 for it. It's like probably worth $5-6 grand today.
Right.
Don't sell anything.
Yeah. Well, that's something I've especially now very sentimental with my guitar collection. But it took me at one point I had 30 guitars, couldn't get into my room, but then ended up selling okay, those 5 are going to go to that guitar, and those 5 I'm going to sell for that guitar.
Cool.
Kind of gradually climb my way up into a little bit of a, more expensive guitar market. This is it's not the reason I play it that it's expensive, but this is this is a 55 Les Paul Jr. Yeah, and it's my favorite guitar.
How'd you get that? Where'd you get that?
It was just
was worth a ton of money?
Yeah, I mean I got a really good deal on it. There's some available at Empire Guitars in Providence, Rhode Island.
I've heard of that.
Great place.
Yeah,
and they I
It's
bought
worn,
this.
man. You can see
It was
finish is wearing away in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
You know, I have an 814 CE Taylor. That's only 7 years old, but I beat the heck out of guitars.
Right.
And it's just, if you look under, it's like it's actually got a hole.
Yeah,
in a piece because I bang it away.
It's
But
like
when
Willie
guitar
Nelson.
play, it's like scar tissue. It's like
Yeah.
You know,
This was pristine.
These are supposed to be used.
It was in really good condition when I got it, and I just I don't know. I treat it like a workhorse, you know.
And that was 55.
55.
It's interesting.
Yes.
I just went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago and saw some of the prototypes, which were, I think, 51, 52 that
Yes.
Les Paul was working on. And I think it was the next year, 53, 54, when the Les Paul that we know of came out. And it's interesting. I don't know where he came up with this, but it's really, if you notice here, there's one pickup on this thing.
Yes.
So on this guitar, it gives you some options, but is that like sort of a humbucker?
It's a P90 pickup. That's the appeal what appealed to me about this, a guitar like this.
Right.
I have a lot of different one pickup guitars, like
Really?
like a Fender.
And Joe Perry's just come out with a Les Paul that
With one
he's
pickup.
with Gibson.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, if you're that heavy rocker, oftentimes you're using one pickup.
Right. And it's like I have a Fender Esquire too. It's like a one pickup thing. I just really like the simplicity of it.
Cool.
I think like anybody does, but the sound of it is really good. But
those are the original knobs too, I think.
yeah, it's all original. I know that I wanted to just strip it all down and just have something very simple to deal with, so that I can really, because a lot of guitar players, really would agree with me in saying that the knobs are so important.
Yeah.
You know, that there's so many different sounds, even just that you realize in one pickup with two knobs, there's so many different things that this guitar can do.
And a lot of people don't touch the tone knob. I'm not famous for. I usually like it all the way up treble and treble sound.
Right.
And as Ricky said a few weeks ago, a lot of guitar players aren't familiar with the volume knob.
Right.
It's usually all the way up.
It's usually all the way up,
But there's a lot you can do. Who is it? Walter Trout? Is he the guy from Government Mule?
Warren Haynes.
Warren Haynes, right. Warren Haynes, who talks about that. You can just, he does a lot with us, I believe, 335s as well. And he does a lot with the tone knob and a little bit with the volume knob. And if you set it up correctly, the volume knob can really help you out. So tell me about 12, 13-year-old Baxter. And what a cool name. That's not a stage name?
No, it's not.
Baxter Hall. Sounds famous already.
Oh, thank you.
So, you get that. Grandma, can I have it?
Yeah.
And then what?
No, I didn't ask her. I took it. No.
Is Grandma still with us?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay, Grandma, thank you.
Yeah, if she wants it back, if she wants to rock out, she can have it back.
She can have it back, or one of the other 30. So go on. So you took some lessons. I know there's a music store over there in Medway on 109.
Barnstorm Music
is
the mecca for just like that area, just like
there's a guy there who's a luthier who's a pretty interesting guy. I forget his name.
Dean,
yeah.
He works on all my
He's
stuff.
all, 90% of music is philosophy, 10% is actually playing, and he's you can just listen. I went over on Sunday. I'm one of these guys.
Yeah.
What music store can I don't watch football as much as that. What music store can I hang out with? And that guy's really cool to just listen to.
Well, I actually, if I'm not able to hang out with Dean, I have someone else bring my guitar. If I'm like busy, I just have someone bring it. Because when I go to see Dean, I'm there to hang out and talk with Dean.
He's helped me once, man. I use another guy who's also great, a guy by the name of Dan Armstrong, whom I'm going to get on the show. He's really the number one Taylor guy in the area. And Dean hates Taylors, by the way. He hates Taylors for some unknown reason. So go on. So you're 13. Yeah. You have no skills at that time. You don't even know the names of strings, right?
Well, I should have taken to the internet more, but I remember just listening to a lot of songs, playing it back, just I didn't know, but that was, the very primitive way of learning that and developing my ear.
Back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, and I played for about 3 years or so. I don't know exactly what. It was 3 years self-taught, and then I went to Barnstorm Music. And I studied with Paul, a guitar teacher there, and Ted is the owner, and he helped me acquire a lot of guitars that came
Cool.
through there too. So
13, 14?
yeah, I would
Okay.
say yeah, and just really started getting into blues music and listening a lot, going out to see a lot of different music. Seeing Duke, seeing Monster Mike Welch, and like all
Who
these
was
people.
the version of you 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
He was the young, up-and-coming blues kind of guy.
Right.
I think he was like 15 when I first started hearing about him.
Yeah. It was really cool to see that, and then having played with them later, it was just really cool. But I would take lessons at Barnstorm, and then I started taking lessons with George McCann, who is
Who's with
done,
James now.
Yeah,
right?
he's with James Montgomery, but also several different projects. And
I don't know him, but that's cool.
yeah, he's the nicest guy, and we
Got to get him on the show.
yes, we would put like a Mike Bloomfield thing on and just study it note for note and talk about it and really get into those people's world and their phrasing. I never even heard the word phrasing until I really was like with George McCann. It's just like the vocabulary, like what do you want to say? Like how are you? It's a very conversational thing. And we would listen to a lot of artists like Gatemouth Brown and T-Bone Walker and Lonnie Johnson and just like all these people, and just like it would be like I would go for an hour lesson, we'd look at the clock, it's like, oh, 3 hours have gone by, and then we just like totally dived into this world of
And what years is this? 14, 15, 16?
yeah, and recently too.
You're still taking lessons?
I haven't taken lessons with him in a little bit, but we're playing at Fireflies.
Right, I saw that
Marlboro.
on the schedule, and that's a good gig.
December 6th.
With him?
Yeah, with him. Yeah.
Is it his band or your band?
It's his band.
Cool.
I don't know if I'll probably be playing the second set with him, but
it's a really cool place.
Yeah, it's
new, beautiful new PA.
Yeah, that's
beautiful stage too.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Yeah, and so going through 14, 15, 16, just totally in blues. I don't want to hear anything else other than blues.
Which is totally against everything your generation stands for. I mean, have you ever met anybody your age who likes blues?
I have, yeah.
You really?
Yeah.
Who is that person?
Well, I mean, no, I only hang out with people that like blues. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I really got into blues music, and only up until recently, I've just really explored different avenues of songwriting. Working with my friend Dwayne Haggins, that was also good to be in. We would do some country-based songs, so that opened up a whole nother world too. And just right now, I'm at the point where I find myself listening to, modern pop artists like Taylor Swift and like Maren Morris or something, because this is just good songwriting with a good hook. And
some of the guitar playing, especially in Nashville, if you listen to the half a minute they give them, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
What was that?
Exactly. Yeah, totally. And
so any in that range there, 14, 15, 16, any bands? Were you playing your typical cover bands?
No, so
around the town of Millis?
Yeah, sorry, I keep starting my sentence with so. My dad says I can't do that. No.
Yeah.
I started a progressive rock band.
I saw that in your bio. Yeah, stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Prog rock.
We play. Yeah, I love prog rock.
Yeah.
We played stuff like King Crimson and
Adrian Belew.
And Rush. We really loved Rush. But that was with my friend Lucas Bratzos, who was my neighbor. I just heard drums one day. It was probably like in some odd time signature, and like we just got together. Like I think the first thing we played was The Ocean, which.
Did you know him?
Has an odd meter. No, I think
was he in high school, in the same school?
I don't know. I mean, he's a little bit older than me, but that was just one of the first times where it's just like the age thing just doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just like we got together and played music, and then I think I introduced myself after.
And he's your current drummer?
Well, we've collaborated in several different projects and stuff. We have we have done a show. The last big thing we did was at the Black Box Theater in Franklin.
That's a great venue.
Yeah.
That's a local venue to us here in Norfolk.
Yeah, and we called that the Baxter Hall Trio, but that was that derived from Monty's Lobster, which was our progressive rock band.
Cool.
And we would just write these rock overtures, that were like 20 minutes long, and it goes in all these time signatures and stuff. But it was really, really musically stimulating.
And that's cool, that place here, because it could be under 21.
Yes.
Right? And you could get a lot of your gang friends to
totally.
into that.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing too, just being a young artist and developing up and coming artist and not being able to play at certain places where you're underage.
What the rules are? I mean, you can't drink, obviously.
It's a
but
policy.
Can you not go in?
Well, it's a policy that differs from different places and stuff. It's not really all the same at each place. But
right.
It was just funny because from a young age I've been playing bars and venues that actually would say. That just made an exception.
Weren't you in high school playing places in Boston?
Yeah.
Didn't I read that?
Well, the first show that Monty's Lobster did was at the Hard Rock Cafe, and that we headlined that show.
And what grade were you?
I was in 7th grade.
And so you tell the kids, hey, guess where I was last night? Yeah, and no one believes you.
They don't care. But and we did the Middle East downstairs, which is
That's
big room.
That's a big room.
Yeah, we would practice a lot around Millis and just say, okay, we're playing in Boston, and everyone would just come in, and it was just such a inspirational time, really. And that's when I really started songwriting and just writing lyrics and stuff. And I had a philosophy teacher at the time who really
in high school.
Yeah, in high school and in 7th grade I had him twice. And really influenced me. And I would just write lyrics in his class, just like he would say something like, "Oh, that's a good lyric," And
do you carry a book? Because I think
I have.
Notebook.
Right now it's on my.
Or do you use an iPhone, right?
Yeah, I don't want it to be on my iPhone because I just feel like I just drop it and it's just everything goes away.
Right.
So it's nothing beats pen and paper.
It's just you hear a phrase.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Well, that's especially where I am right now. Is just everything is material. It's like a comedian or something, musicians and comedians are the same like that, where you're just always looking for material. If I hear someone say something like, "Oh, that could be a hook to a song or a lyric or an album name or or something like that." So I have my house is just filled with notes.
Cool.
Everywhere. But yes. I played in a few bands, Monty's Lobster. Right. I played with my friends Eric, Nolan, and Willem. Excuse me. And we played in a band called Clyde Brown, which was very, very Led Zeppelin based. And we had that lineup: lead singer, bass, and guitar and drums. And we would play in Boston too. Cool. We would do the same sort of thing, and we had a really fun time with that. We did that for a while. And that leads to Dwayne Haggins, basically.
And tell me about that project. Tell me about Dwayne and how that the lineup and all that sort of stuff.
Well, the father of that project, his name is Brooke Meggs. And he is a really great guy. And he sort of moved us around different, pieces on the chessboard, and Dwayne
is he a manager type guy?
Well, he's a manager figure. Right. He's a lot of figures. He's a guru figure. I'm just trying to make him laugh. I know he's gonna see this.
Oh yeah, cool.
He put Dwayne and I together. And Dwayne and I just clicked, really.
Because Dwayne is really well known in the area. He's doing a lot of the acoustic places that I play. I see you're playing a lot of places like Main Street. I've been playing there for 10 years. And I'm good friends with those folks. It's a lot of soul in that room.
Yeah, definitely.
If you've been there. So Dwayne I saw him more as a singer-songwriter, acoustic solo guy. Yeah. So he's doing a band thing, and I follow him on Facebook. It looks like an album's coming up.
Yes, we have the album.
What's the name of the band, too?
Dwayne Haggins. We just call
Dwayne Haggins Band.
Yeah, or just Dwayne Haggins.
Okay, cool.
But one of the first things we did it just all came together so naturally. And we just went down to Tennessee. We have some friends in Knoxville at Top Hat Studios. And we just recorded an album. And we stayed at the studio, woke up in our pajamas, cooked some eggs, and cut a song. And
did you have it rehearsed ahead of time? And did you guys know the material?
We would rehearse. I mean, especially for our drummer, Johnu, that was even more so one of the first things that he just, it's like, okay, we're going to Tennessee, and we went down there, and me and my girlfriend drove down the day after I graduated high school. I got in the car, drove straight to Tennessee, which was just so much fun.
Yep.
And we recorded an album. It's called Heavenly Rose, all originals. And then just recently, again, we have another album coming out called China Ruby, and which is the name of a Chinese restaurant where we always go after rehearsal in Maynard.
Yeah.
And the album release is December 8th at a new venue in Maynard called Sanctuary.
Don't know it.
It used to be a church. It's a really cool room. Yeah.
It's like a concert room.
Yes, yeah. And and especially Dwayne's been I think he's really been diving into a lot of gospel songs and stuff.
Cool.
So to be in that environment, I think we're going to channel some energy.
So is this the sort of thing where you have to sell all the tickets type thing? And
yes.
Yeah, one of those deals, yeah.
Yeah, the venue seats about 200 people, but we have no doubt that we'll be able to do that. We recently did a show at The Amazing Things.
That's great in Framingham.
Yeah.
A little 150-person room type thing.
Yeah, and unfortunately we had to turn about 20 people away the day of. It just reached capacity and sold out. It was
T-Can
really
might
cool.
be better.
Yeah, T-Can is a similar room.
A little bit bigger room.
Yeah.
About 260 it holds.
Yeah.
Bull Run too. Didn't I see you play?
Yeah,
Bull
I played
Run?
at the Bull Run. I sat in with the Bruce Marshall group, but also
Bruce
opened.
is an old buddy of mine. Trying to get him back. He's retired up to Maine. Trying to get Bruce down here.
Get down here, Bruce.
So I didn't know you were playing with Bruce and Cornier, his guitar player.
Yes.
David.
Yes. He's awesome.
Great tasty player.
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
Understated and
and
always right there.
Even being around people like Bruce, it's just so cool to have that. I mean, especially when I was getting into songwriting,
And he's great. He's got 2 albums. You should check him out.
Yeah.
And that is so, again, a little advice from an older guy. You hanging out with older guys and not thinking they're square or, goofy old guys. It's like you can learn so much.
Yeah.
From the Bruces of the world, from the Ricky King Russells of the world.
That's true, yeah.
And you're being opened up to. So tell me about your big breaks, because you've definitely played some big gigs with big people.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like Duke.
Yeah. Well,
did it come through George?
Well, I got connected to Duke through my friend Stevie Silver. He was in a blues group, Stevie Silver and the West Siders. And he also, when I was very young, really showed me a lot of blues guys and would take me to go see some people play, a lot of blues. And I got connected with Duke, and I sat in with him. I think I was about 15 or 16 at Chan's in Rhode Island.
Which is a big room.
Yeah.
That's a lead room or whatever the word, the premier room.
Right.
For mid-level national acts.
Yes. And it was really funny because there's a video on YouTube of it. Maybe I can provide you guys the clip, but it's like right before we're about to play, Duke's like, okay. Duke doesn't usually have people come up and play with him, and I was talking to him about this the other day. Like you can kind of see he's like, okay, like there's this kid on stage now, like let's do this, let's see what happens, And
Let me interrupt. Did you bring your own stuff?
I used his guitar. It was
Really?
it was completely.
How'd that feel?
Yeah, it was
guitar's
cool.
very personal to all of us. It's
Right.
Normally we can pick up anybody's guitar, but if you're doing a major gig like that,
yeah,
I'd want my own thing and my own amp.
Yeah, definitely. And we just went into this song and I played some lick or something and the smile lit up and.
Were you nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm usually always nervous.
And the nature of nervousness is in the music world is that I think in any world or like sports or whatever, you tighten up.
Yes.
And you lose about half of your licks because you're you're inhibited or
Yeah.
It's just a hard thing that we all have to deal with. Yeah.
Well, especially something I've learned about myself being sometimes sharing the stage with people, and there's kind of the voice at the back of your head, like, oh my God, like, look at that, who's that next to you, like, look where you are, and it's just, music is when you're on stage, it's such a meditative thing that you're just in it,
Yeah, it's like football too. I play a lot of football. Just getting hit, that first hit, boom, you're good. Yeah. Frank Gambale? Frank is a great jazz guitar player. He's really the guy who, one of the lead guys for the tapping thing.
Oh, yeah.
He said something great. He got the gig with Chick Corea. Chick Corea, the great Chick Corea. And he was so freaked out when he started playing it. And it's like, you know what? He said to himself, Chick Corea is amazing, but he's really horrible on guitar.
Yeah.
And said, oh yeah, I'm a better guitar player than Chick Corea is.
Right.
I shouldn't feel intimidated around him.
Right.
And it kind of, anything you can do to relax you. So what other big gigs did I miss or anything else?
Something, when I was about 14, I got connected to play at B.B. King's Blues Club. I was invited to play there, which was a pretty.
And where's that? Is that Memphis?
That's in New York City. Yeah. That was a pretty big experience for me, especially being so young.
14.
Yeah.
And how did you get that gig?
My dad knew somebody, and who knew somebody, and just kind of got me up on stage there. I think it was actually a more of a blues jam. They sometimes have, or like an invite only. They have people sit in.
Cool.
It's not there anymore, but and I've done some really big ones with Dwayne. We've played at Gotham Hall in New York City for a function, which was a lot of fun, which is a really big room. And we've done some stuff at Symphony Hall in Boston.
Really?
Yeah, and what's some other?
With whom?
With Dwayne. A lot of it with Dwayne. A lot. We sometimes.
Is that your main gig?
Yes.
Along with your own trio.
Yes, it's always sort of. I've never been involved in just one project at a time. I'm right now. I'm in many different projects and producing. My girlfriend Bella, she's working on an album and doing that, and with Dwayne and my own project, and just staying as busy as I can. Really.
Yeah, and that's the key. And let me ask you the big question. You're 20. Mm-hmm. You live in Boston. Mm-hmm. Why aren't you at Berkeley?
There are different reasons that I'm not at Berkeley, but being connected in the Boston music scene since a really young age, I've developed some relationships with Berkeley professors that I've been able to study with them.
Cool.
One-on-one.
And that's the only thing I was going to recommend to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Right.
What's cool about Berkeley are the connections. There's no doubt about it because you get worldwide connections there. And you can probably do it with the level that you're playing right now. But if you can pick up a John Finn or Scott Cerulli. I'm trying to get John on the show. John's blowing me off till January. Scott Cerulli's another young guitar player you might want to. And he was on the show 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I know Scott has done some gigs with my mom.
He's from out here. Yeah, he lives in one of those towns. Right. One of the M towns, Milford or Memphis or Medway, one of them.
Yeah. Berkeley is great because, especially being young, you get in that scene, and there's so many. I mean, music is such a network thing,
right? It's all relationships.
It's all relationships. Yeah,
it's all relationships. You do not have to be Al Di Meola. I'd love to be Al Di Meola, but you just got to be good and a good guy and fit in. And a guy with your skills, especially tell me about the singing.
Oh yeah, the singing is a whole nother beast. I've realized lately that I love playing guitar, but singing and having your own voice and working on your own lyrics, and I think writing your own, even just attempting to write your own songs, is just so important in so many different ways. If you want to do certain things, but I've really been singing a lot more lately and becoming more comfortable with my voice and booking more solo acoustic shows.
I saw that, right?
Yeah,
right.
so that I could get used to just having me, an acoustic guitar, and just my voice, and learning about my voice and not how to, to not strain my voice and take care of my voice and everything.
And I'd recommend maybe taking some voice lessons.
Yeah, totally.
Because there are folks around here. One guy in particular, I can't remember his name, but a woman I work with, Jen Truesdale, is great. Or any of those monster. Because singing is just like it's very physical.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've realized many years working with singers, the ones who really know how to do it can do 7 nights in a row.
Right.
365 days in a row. And the ones who don't, especially if they're in hard rock bands, man, they run into issues.
Yeah, definitely. And my girlfriend Bella, she studies more with a vocal coach. Her name's Erica Van Pelt.
Oh, I know Erica. Erica was on American Idol, one of those.
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I've taken, I think, a few lessons with her. But even then, I just already learned so much about
it's
the
like
voice and it helps.
You can, oh, dude, it's all my arm hurts. It's well, there's a way.
Right.
There's a way to sing.
There's definitely a correct way to sing and a wrong way to sing. But I mean, I grew up listening to like Iggy Pop. It's just completely just
nobody knows who Iggy Pop is out there. It's the Stooges, and I used to love the Iggy Pop. So again, we have a video here. We're going to play. Anything you want to mention on what? We're not really sure which video we're going to play here, but in general, do you know what you're going to play here? We're going to play right now.
I'm going to shred some solos for you.
Okay, cool. you're back, and what's going on now? You got your band, you got the Dwayne Haggins thing.
Yes.
What's the future for Baxter?
Well,
where do we go from here? And before we get there, I haven't heard any of the prominent current guys.
Yeah.
Joe Bonamassa, do you like or hate? Because some blues guys hate.
Oh, I don't.
I happen to love him.
There's not a single musician that I hate.
You into him at all?
No. Well, Joe Bonamassa, I really respect.
It's on video. Joe's checking.
No, Joe Bonamassa is awesome. I really respect how he's a really good example on just working hard and creating your own business. And
have you read his? So you know his story?
Yeah,
because he doesn't go through a record company.
No, and
he doesn't go through
awesome.
a management company. He rents the big halls.
Yeah.
Directly, sells directly.
Yeah.
Sells his albums directly.
Totally.
And he is the only major blues artist in the entire earth who can sell out major rooms.
Oh, totally. And he's such an encyclopedia too. I've learned so much even just from afar.
And he's a good guy.
Yeah,
he's a really good guy.
I've met him before. And
you did?
Yeah, he's really a really nice guy.
Cool.
I spent a little time with him. Just he showed me some of his guitars, and I'm sure he doesn't remember, but Duke knows him, and Duke has helped him when he was my age.
Yeah, because he was a young 14, 15-year-old phenomenon.
Yeah. And Joe speaks really very highly of Duke, as does everyone. And,
cool.
And he's awesome. I think he's great.
Cool. So what's the future hold? Where do you want to go from here? What are your goals? How do you get them?
Well, I've really been singing a lot, and I've been believing in myself more about being a songwriter. And what this album, this project that I'm working on, Somewhere in My Guitar, it's a bit of a concept album in the sense that it's really about becoming a songwriter, branching out into different styles of music. The first song that is on the album is an original called Caught Between the Blues and a Rocky Place. So that's kind of about my own, which is so awesome about nowadays is you don't have to be a certain, like, I'm this genre of music, I'm this, I'm that. It's just really that song and the title Somewhere in My Guitar, which is Somewhere in My Guitar, there's a song that no one's heard before.
Right.
That's just really about branching out into different styles of music, not really declaring myself just I'm a this, or I'm this sort of artist.
Right.
So I'm really hoping that this album that I'm working on will really bring me into the songwriting field, and then who knows, the next one might be something different. It's just really exploring. I mean, we mentioned Rick Berlin. That's something that I've really admired about him, is that the constant reinventing yourself as an artist, I think is really good for the audience, but also for yourself, to keep things musically stimulating, but also keeping that, I fell in love with the blues. That's my roots. It'll always be my roots, Right. It'll always have a blues based thing, and to not forget where I've come from. But
you don't see yourself as a Bonamassa type, because he's declared he's a blues guy.
Yeah,
you don't see that.
No.
Okay, cool.
I see myself more in the style of someone like Neil Young.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you blow Neil Young away on guitar.
I don't know. I mean, Neil Young is a really interesting guitar player.
Okay, we got a few things here. Tell me, your mother played with Moody Blues?
Yes, yeah. She...
right, the violin in the background.
Yeah.
Type thing. Okay, cool.
When she was pregnant with me.
Right. So you essentially played with the Moody Blues, but tangentially.
Yeah, where's my paycheck? Yeah. And, she's played with Joni Mitchell and Brian Wilson around that time. Yeah,
because I've seen her on Facebook. I don't know her, but I'm sure we have probably 100 or 200 friends in common.
Yeah.
So quickly, what are you playing these days? So, and why don't you grab that other one too?
Yeah. Well,
why don't we jam out with that one?
Sure. Yeah. Well, this one. I mean, just to talk about this one. This is my Les Paul Jr. It's like my.
Is that your main axe?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I never used the word axe. Main guitar.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I have a song on my album called "The Axeman" because I thought Bax the Axeman Hall would stick.
I like
but
that
it
as
never-
the name
it
of an
never
album.
did.
Bax the Axe.
Bax the Axeman.
And so what's this other one again?
This other one here is it's a 56 or something. I don't know. The year doesn't really matter to me. It sounds really awesome.
Cool.
And
And is it light?
it's I don't know.
I have a 69 Les Paul. It's about 12 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, that you can't even
Oh,
lift.
compared to that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if someone painted black. It appears as though someone did. It's like or the factory could have done it. I don't know.
Cool.
It's a mystery, but it sounds really good, and it's a Les Paul special. And I put a stamp on the back because that's what Eric Clapton did. And
Oh, really? I did not know that. And what do you get for an amp here? This is a cool Bogner? No, Bugera, right?
Bugera. I actually...
And that's what, like 10, 20 watt type thing?
I actually am just borrowing this amp from my girlfriend's mom.
Cool.
She was practicing some guitar. This is her practice amp. Yeah.
Cool. And what else are you using? Pedals or?
I don't usually use a lot of pedals.
Really, straight into what's your main gigging amp?
My main amp that I really swear by is a Vox AC30.
AC30.
Yeah.
John Paolili plays one of those, and he was one of our guests.
Yeah.
My first guest on this show.
It's definitely...
Has an overdrive built into it, or?
Well, what I play is some people really don't like this about amps, but I really like it because I just don't really like having a lot of pedals, but that's probably going to change in a few months.
You go up and down, man, with that.
You
Yeah,
totally
so-
do.
yeah.
But what I play is a Vox AC30 C2.
Cool.
So it's a newer amp. I have a lot of vintage amps, but I've just kind of gotten like I like old guitars and new amps. That
Right.
amp I really want to be really dependable.
Right, you don't want something screwing up when
Yeah.
you're playing these big
But
gigs.
it's an AC30 C2, which the C2 part means that it has a master switch and a volume switch, so I can just really have that breakup without it getting too crazy. Like,
So that's what
like
you're
the
using.
older
And using the
ones.
volume
Yeah.
here to control things.
Exactly. I turn it.
So you essentially
all
have
down. Yeah.
you essentially have some harshness in the amp, and you deal with it there. You know, and we all go back and forth on that. I just bought a Boogie Triple Crown, which is really good. Totally clean, crunch, Boogie overdrive. So and it's just that's all you need. You know, I mean, and that's a good amp for a lot of different things. And I have an old '70s chorus and a a DD2 delay, and
Right. Oh,
that's all I really need. I still have a tube screamer too that I use because it's there, and occasionally I use a compressor.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone has to have a tube screamer. Basically, I have
It's
a tube
just great.
screamer, and it's good to have one.
Okay, we got a couple of minutes here, less than actually 2 minutes.
Sure.
Right there, there's a 7-year-old Baxter Hall out there in Rentham, Mass, watching this show, and he wants to be a guitar player. What would you tell him?
Are you sure? No, I don't know.
That's exactly what Nat said last week. Get a real job is what Nat said.
I know what my parents said. They said, "You can totally do that, but like, are you sure? You know, it's not like you're gonna the money isn't there. You have to know that. It's really just with anything, you have to really ask yourself. It's different for everyone, but what is success?
That's exactly. Who's it? Warren Haynes, you were just talking about?
Yeah.
He's in Guitar Player magazine this month, and he talks about that. It's just, if there's any doubt that in 20, 30 years, you're going to want to back out, don't.
Yeah, I guess.
And then if you want to do it, then do every gig.
Right.
Play everywhere and play with everyone. So,
Right.
again, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks to your parents for being supportive there. And they don't contact. That's not fair because they're both musicians. So they were supporting it. So we'll just groove out on a blues and G, and that's it. next week. Cool.